what made Sachin so different from everyone else who was from his era?
Correct.
What made him stand out? What was that one X factor or two X factors that made Sachin Sachin?
I think the thing that makes Sachin is that Sachin delivered at big moments, right? Now, generally, people who deliver at big moments have a phenomenal amount of conviction in their ability to execute, and that conviction comes from practice. But it's also very fortuitous because you have to be in a moment where that matters. I spent a lot of time working with Lance Klusener, and I always criticized Lance to say, buddy, you play the game into a situation only you can win it from. He did that from the longest time, right? You know, and but they do that. It's fortuitous that they get the game to a situation, or that the game is in a situation where only you can do it, and then you back the skill to be able to execute at that moment. So, Sachin being Sachin is a byproduct of maybe being in the right place at the right time with the transition, having the skill set to execute, and finding yourself in positions where, if I step up, something amazing is going to happen. And, Virat is in that position. Dhoni finds himself in that position, but they have the skill set to complement that.
I have seen Dhoni being the calmest when he knows all hell is going to break loose.
Yeah.
And that moment also, he's calm, he's at the wicket, he's not being aggressive, he's not putting pressure on his team, and he knows, okay, we have maybe lost a game, but we have not lost the war.
Correct.
And I really feel that as a leadership quality is something that every captain or every player should take, because every player is a leader in his own way.
Yeah.
And Virat also is someone who is the person who complemented Dhoni well by being so, what's the word I'm looking for? So consistent and so dedicated in his talent.
Yeah. You know what? What is it that senior people do in an environment is Dhoni does this. I saw John Wright doing this at times. And they make you realize also very, very quickly, and I'm sure Dhoni realizes it, that at the end of the day, we're playing a game.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a game. We can win it, we can lose it, but it's a game. There are a lot of things out there that are way more important. He also has that mentality of armed services. He understands what the struggle is. He understands humility. So he's able to really put things in perspective. The second other thing that I was telling someone when we talk about good to great is great people have a lot of checks and balances before they allow someone into a room or onto their team. But when they get there, they trust them as the expert in that, right? So Dhoni really and truly doesn't question why you're there. And he trusts and he backs your ability to do it. And he knows, okay, even if you get it wrong, every time you've got it wrong, you've got one step closer to getting it right the next time. Now, there are two types of greats that I work with. I spent a little bit of time. A lot of people ask me about Mr. Bachchan. There was a time when 5-6 years, every single morning, I would meet him at his home and we'd train together and do this. And
What were you doing with Mr. Bachchan? I really want to tap into that.
So Mr. Bachchan,
if you can speak about it.
I was managing a lot of his training, a lot of his rehab. We had a few injuries that we were managing, things like that. This was the thing. He came to me when I founded a business called Heal. Abhishek's a very dear friend. I manage all Abhishek's sports teams earlier on, Chennai, Jaipur, all of these things. And as a result of that relationship, he brought me in to say, you know what, can you help my dad? Because we know he's had a few accidents and surgeries and stuff like that, and every now and again they flare up. So I was taking care of the physical rehab and the injury management for him. But like Mr. Bachchan, like a Dhoni, like a Sachin, like all of these greats, puts in a phenomenal amount of practice in everything. But I noticed something, I've worked with a fair bunch of greats across fields, and there are two types. There's a type of person who knows they're great, right? But when they walk in the room, they want you to know they're great. So their behavior is reminding you, is forcing you to remember how good they are. And then there's a type of great who knows they're great, and they know that the 10 seconds you spend with them in the room could change your life.
So they make the 10 seconds
about you. They make the 10 seconds about you. And I've seen this distinctly so many times in my life. you know. And this for me is so subtle and so nuanced that you have to be there, you have to observe these people to really understand that. And the second type of that greatness comes from really and truly from this this real confidence in your ability and your knowledge and your and to really trust who you are, you know. Dhoni exemplifies that second type of greatness in many ways.
In the cricket world, out of all the countries that you have been with, talking about cricket teams, yeah, out of all the countries that is, who has been that one legend that you would say that I have never seen a man like him?
Never seen a man like him. I mean, you know, my career started off in South Africa. And I'll tell you one thing about South Africa is that everyone who played professional cricket also had full-time jobs. Right? So my exposure was related particularly to those. And there are a few names that I'll mention who, that come to mind besides the pros that you know of, the Jonties, the Sean Pollocks.
Yeah.
There were people like Errol Stewart, who also played, he kept wickets, he played for South Africa. Andrew Hudson, the opening batsman for South Africa. These people would wake up in the morning, practice 3 hours, and then go and have a full-time job, and then come back in the afternoon and practice 3 hours. And the character with which they held both these roles was so magnificent. It was really, really, humbling in some shape and form. In India, when I work, there's some exceptional leaders, but they're only doing cricket. How are we straddling all of these other aspects of life, these things that I'm still yet to see? And when I look at someone, to answer your question, I'm looking at a well-rounded person.
Absolutely.
Who is able to hold that family, able to hold a job, able to give back to community, able to succeed in sport, able to also maintain a level of equanimity with everything. This is what we're looking for. This is the type of
Who's
role
that one
model.
person for you
One person.
in India?
I mean, in India,
Like the things that you mentioned for me would be Dhoni.
for sure, Dhoni is, yeah, like I said, I've not spent too much time, but he for sure is that one person. I think he comes the closest to that, in being really grounded, really humble, giving back, having multiple roles, not choosing to, I feel like he never chooses the limelight, he's thrust into the limelight. In fact, I feel like he's deflecting it. I feel he has real understanding of what is important and who is important, and he spends his time there, So, yeah. Like when you look at Dhoni, it reminds me of someone always says, what type of a person you want to be is be the type of person that Tom Hanks would play in a movie.
Yeah.
Because if you look at every character he plays, is really a 5-star exemplary human being.
Absolutely.
So, and Dhoni is that for sure, yeah.